Hello, beautiful and sexy you. Welcome back to Practice Intimacy. This is the place to be to learn all about love, sex, and how to have the best relationships you possibly can. I'm Jamie Lynn. I'm a marriage and family therapist in the Austin area, and I wanted to share a couple of resources with you today. Fun ways to build intimacy with your partner, if that's who you're really hoping to have a more intimate connection with. Or it could be friends, it could be family, it could be people you're going on dates with. Really, wherever you're at in your life, if you're wanting more intimacy, there are some really fun ways to start building it. And I wanted to give you 3 different things that you could potentially do. They're all related, but it's 3 different games you can basically play with people in order to start building. In this case, it would be some intellectual intimacy and emotional intimacy, and probably some sexual intimacy too. Some of the questions that you'll go through have to do with sex. So a little bit of everything, actually. Maybe even some spiritual intimacy as you start to understand the other person's mind and your own mind more. If you're wondering what I'm meaning as I'm saying these different categories of intimacy, check out this video. I break them all down. There's 5 different areas of intimacy, and it can be really helpful to just kind of distinguish what you're looking for in relationship. So let's talk about these 3 different things. All of them are questions. All of them are ways to start digging a little bit deeper with the people you're in relationship with or hoping to get in relationship with. And since there's kind of a spectrum that we'll all fall on, let me talk about that first. The spectrum is either I'm just meeting a person and I'm getting to know them and I'm building intimacy from nothing, or I've been in a relationship a long time. I know them very well, and yet we're disconnected. And then everything in between. So wherever you are in relationship, know that these questions are designed to create more sensation inside of you, both positive and negative. Actually, I don't like those words, even though they slip out of my mouth often. Pleasant and unpleasant. Negative is wrong because often the unpleasant emotions are helping us so much. Helping us to be closer to ourselves, helping us to connect to humanity, helping us to recognize that imperfection is what brings us all together. And by playing these kind of question games, you're doing 2 things. One is you're getting to know yourself better. If you go deeply inside and you actually say the answer that feels scary to share or just high sensation to share, there's a lot happening inside of you as you imagine sharing it, then you will experience more growth because you're having more intimacy with yourself. And you're also turning on your aliveness in those moments when you create more sensation and you do the scary thing, which is a huge part of intimacy. So often we want to lean really far into security, which feels good, but whenever you lean really far into security, sometimes you lose some of the passion and fire of the intimate experience. Instead, it's just comfortable, which is also nice, but having a balance is what we're really going for. So push yourself. If you choose to do one of these games with your people that you care about, push yourself to be more vulnerable and honest and do the sensational thing. Share the sensational information about you. And then the other thing you're doing is you're creating a moment where you could be really present with another person as they're allowing themselves to be vulnerable. You're inviting vulnerability from them by playing these kinds of games and opening up yourself. And if they open up, if they are willing to go there with you, recognize that it is a gift. And in return for that gift, be really present yourself. Truly be there with them. Listen to everything they have to say. Allow yourself to be curious about their experience and ask even more questions. Because things that they say, if you're truly paying attention, you're not going to understand all of it. Because you're different people. You can't understand everything about their world. So allow the curiosity to come up inside of you. Be interested in how y'all are different. be interested in the other person's story. So let me talk about the actual games. 2 of them are games that you would buy. 1 is a free game. So I'll do the free game last because it's nice to have a resource mixed in with everything else. But the 2 games that I have, I brought them so that you could see them. This one is relatively new. I just tried it this past week. We're Not Really Strangers is what it's called. And I like this game really for anyone. I found that doing it with one of my close friends and with my partner and a group of friends, like I still learned things about myself and my partner that I would not have thought of before. But the way that this particular game is laid out, there's 3 levels. And the first level is perception, where I ask a question or I make a statement, and then people tell me their answer about me based on their perception of me. The next level, level 2, is called connection. And it's really the questions where you ask something of another person and they share some piece of their history, some piece of their mind with you. And then the third level is reflections. Here's the things I think I've learned about you. Here's the things that I believe I understand about you after having this connected, turned on experience of answering questions honestly. I haven't done this game with a stranger yet, but I actually think it would be amazing with a stranger. I think it'd be really fun, and you would learn a lot very quickly about another person. And you would also get to kind of check your assumptions about them. The perception level, where you're making guesses about the person just based on what you're seeing, can lead to really fun and deep conversations about who they actually are. So that is the first game. I think it's a fun one if you are interested. The next one can be fun, can be challenging. So this one, it comes from the School of Life. That is the company who makes this particular card game. And it's got 100 questions in it that kind of spark conversations you might not have normally. I'm going to read to you the little blurb on the box so that you can get a feel for what they're trying to do with this game. It says, "We often suffer in relationships because we don't know how to talk. We feel there is no good opportunity to raise certain questions, and so we miss out on conversations that might have rescued us. Inside this box, you will find 100 carefully composed questions designed to get lovers talking to one another and their friends about who they are, who they hope to become, some of the things they secretly want, and the pleasures and sorrows of love." I really like this particular deck. This one's called 100 Questions, a Toolkit for Relationships from the School of Life. I like this deck because it does spark the difficult conversations, the things we tend to avoid, the topics that have pain around them. And so we don't discuss it, and then we miss out on what could have been a potentially painful but also healing conversation. And then the last one, this is an article from the New York Times. It came out years ago called 36 Questions That Lead to Love. And there's 3 different levels in those questions as well. They make it from a little bit more get to know you to a little bit more vulnerable as you go. My suggestion to you would be to start there. Start with that resource. It is free online. I will link it below. The next time you have a date night planned with your loved one, bring out these questions and ask every single question, even if you think you know the answer. And take the time to really dig deep and give a true, honest, vulnerable answer to every single one. It can be scary to do that. But I will be honest with you. Doing the scary, vulnerable thing is part of having an intimate, turned-on life. If you always do the safe thing, if you always do the comfortable thing, sure, it might feel good. You might even have a wonderful relationship with another person, awesome. And you probably will not experience the full range of what is possible. You might have highs, but they won't be as high as they could be. When we choose to be vulnerable and real, it brings up lots of feelings, but feelings are what creates a sense of aliveness. It's what turn on is actually made out of. We often forget that because we live in a culture that has separated out turn on to mean a very specific thing, specifically sex, and the beginning part of love, the infatuation phase. But no, turn on is actually an experience you can have throughout your entire life with the same partner over decades. But what it requires is being honest and vulnerable with yourself and with them. I hope you enjoyed this talk. I hope that you try these different tools. Let me know how it goes. Leave a comment below, please. Tell me what you think and what happens as you have these conversations with the people you care about, or the people you're just meeting. It can also be with dating partners if you're in that phase of life. Really, the whole point is just to break down those barriers, those things that are keeping you from being really close to others. I hope you enjoy taking down your walls and having another person do it with you. I'll see you in the next video.